Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part two of how to create a floor plan brought to you by the Decor and Design DIY channel. I'm going to take you on a quick tour. If you're watching this video for the first time, I do encourage you to go back to part one where I show you some of the basic elements of how we created our floor plan. And there's a couple of drop downs that we used in order to create the floor plan, which in the beginning is a blank canvas, and then we go in and we start utilizing the catalog in order to fill in the furnishings and fixtures and lighting and other elements of the design. Now, this is going to be part two, but I like to start out by just showing you how I went back in and just started filling in some of the elements, decor elements that are available in the catalog that comes with this free software. Part one also teaches you how to open an account or create an account, which is completely free, and it's really a great tool for the DIY crew who like to just do their own thing and then get the professional design help that they need here and there. Most people intuitively know how to create space plans, but then there are some pieces and elements that somehow we miss as we get into the details of spacing and um, circulation and measurements and things of that nature. And that's what this channel is all about. In today's video, we're going to be doing part two of the floor plan by creating the kitchen. And as you can see here, I've already gone in and set up everything. But what I'm going to do is drop in a few elements so that you can see how the spacing and the copy and paste feature really works when you're creating your generic floor plan. Now, should you choose to go through a professional in order to get your kitchen or any aspect of your home designed, you can always start out by pulling together some of your ideas and thoughts and then taking that to them. You can recreate your kitchen that you already have, or you can do this is how I'd like to see my kitchen, and then see what they can do to improve on the design that you've already come in to have that discussion with. And then from there, make copies of your ideas and take those with you when you go to talk to your kitchen designer or your general contractor or who's ever going to help you with actually pulling your ideas into your dream kitchen. And it's also good to see what the design professionals can do as well, and you can compare and contrast. So it's all around a great tool to use. Here we are in what is a blank canvas as far as the kitchen goes, but this is going to be the room where we're going to bring in our cabinets and our lighting, our tables, our, our cooking range, refrigerator, and some of the other elements that I've chosen ahead of time. So again, if you haven't had a chance to look at part one, that will teach you how to use the tools that we use for the most part. But I always encourage you to play around with the tools and especially look through the catalog so that you can get a general idea of all of the possibilities that are available when you create your floor plan. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring in the larger pieces of the space. And for that, we're going to go to the catalog and we're going to go to the kitchen. And it kind of is set up in a good order when you think about it. You want to put in your cabinet sets. And I'll click on that so you can see what that looks like. Those are the larger pieces. And then the base pieces that you want to add in order to fill in the gaps. And those are the bottom pieces that you'll see here. And then next are the wall and or the uppers that you see in typical kitchen designs. And then last but not least, kitchen accessories that add the little finishing touches. All right, so for this floor plan, I decided to go with the contemporary kitchen because I wanted to add a peninsula to my kitchen design. And of course, when you bring them into that space, a lot of times they're going to be free moving. You can always just click off and then go back to the element, and then it'll give you the ability to turn it. Now, once you have it situated the way that you want it, then you can move it into the location. You're going to have to make some adjustments, and that's fine. Click off. All right. Because of the door swing, we're going to move it just a little bit. Okay. And I'm leaving this expanded so that you can see how the pieces are being added as we go through. The next thing that I want to do is I want to fill in this area right here with some base cabinets because I want this to be a complete L shape for this kitchen demo. Now there's lots of options, and I definitely encourage you to kind of scroll through and look at what's available. For this demo, the base that I decided to go with again is a white contemporary base cabinet. And I'm going to add it here and then click off. And then I'm going to add one more. So I'm going to take the one that I just added and do the control copy, control paste. All right, select that piece, control paste. All right, and then we're going to bring that up. So we've got, in addition to the L shape that we added 3 additional cabinets. So let's take a look at what that looks like when we focus on that side of the kitchen. Now you see that little gap in there? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust all of those pieces and bring that back. I had to move them around slightly because of the door, and earlier I moved the peninsula pieces back in order to accommodate those 3 cabinets. But now I'm going to do the reverse. So now it goes back to um, a reasonable swing for the door. And there it is. Everything is fitting into place right there. So it's going to take a little bit of manipulation in order to make everything fit according to your floor plan. But don't get frustrated. Just keep playing with the pieces. The next thing that I want to do is I want to focus on this wall. There's the wall. Let me pull this viewer back here. There's the wall where the refrigerator will go. We're going to add some additional cabinetry and additional uppers on both sides of the refrigerator. Almost like a prep space, if you will. And we're going to do that by adding what we would refer to as a base. Again, we're in the same section, and it's going to be the same thing. So ideally, you can just copy and paste and bring those over. But what I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to bring in the refrigerator, and we'll design around the refrigerator. In this case, we'll design around the appliance. Let's go to refrigerators real quick. And this is the one that I selected for this design, but feel free to bring in any of the elements that you want. The great thing about it is that most of them have the size requirements. And so in real life, in real time, if you need to accommodate an appliance and you have fixed measurements, it'll be helpful for you to see how that's going to be placed in your floor plan by actually creating or selecting the exact size of that appliance if it's available. And the other thing that you can also do is resize it with these little dots here. Well, we actually want it to be forward facing in this demo. And it's a little crooked, and I'm such a perfectionist. All right, so I want to move you back. Please move back without giving me problems. Again, that's the perfectionist in me. It's just saying, hey, move it out and adjust it another way, which is what we're going to do. We're going to let the tool tell us what to do. And for that base cabinet, again, either you can come over here and copy and move one over, or you can go to the catalog and select one. It's going to be the same style. In this case, it's going to be this one right here. Double click. And bring him over. And then click off. And so there you see. And now we're going to add an upper to that just so to give this some symmetry in this space. And then over here in this corner, we're going to add the other base cabinet and uppers. Now I'm going to change the paint on this wall just so that you can see where this is being placed. And then we can always go back and adjust that later. And this also gives you an opportunity to see some of the features that we went over in part 1 of this video. I want it to stand out a little bit, not too much, but I want you to be able to differentiate. So you can see what that looks like. Of course, we're going to go back and make that change, but that just gives you an idea of what you will be able to see and how you can make those walls pop while you're designing, so that when you pull this little guy over here to look at that space, you'll actually see those angles in the wall. Now, I highlighted an inner wall, so I highlighted the outer wall. And now once we select the paint, there, that looks more like a column, and we'll be able to design around that because the cabinets are going to go up against that area. So that's what I wanted for you to be able to see once we painted that one wall just for the purpose of this demo. In real life, you'll be able to see it. Sometimes the 3D effects of software can throw you off a little bit, and we'll definitely change this color in a future video. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is still in the base cabinet section. I'm going to bring in another piece that I saw. I have quite a few options here. The piece that I'm going to select from the base cabinet section is this contemporary white island. And it's going to go right here against this wall right here. And here are the details. Gives you the length, the width, and the height. And it also gives you options if options are available. You can take it down to 2 drawers. You can, do a shelf unit. There's a whole lot of different things that you'll be able to select. And some of them have their limitations as well. Now we're at the point where we have our sink is in place, our refrigerator is in place, and now what I want to do is add the cooking range as well as the hood vent that will go in this position over here. And then we'll add the uppers because I want to center that around the cooking range. So the first thing we want to do is then go back to the catalog, go to ranges and cooktops, and I'm going to go with the 30-inch gas cooktop. But of course, feel free to embellish and go with the elements that you enjoy, that you like. For this tutorial though, I want to make it as simple as possible, but also help you to understand that, the choices are endless in terms of what you actually add. And I'll show you something interesting about these pieces too once we get to the summary overview, because this summary overview is collecting all of the items that we put into the floor plan. And then from there you can click on web addresses that can actually show you what this item actually looks like real time. Now we'll get into centering in a minute. I'm just dropping it at place so that you can see how we're developing this. And now I'm going to go back and get the actual hood. There's one hood here, but I want to go and look at some of the other options that we have. And I think I chose this one, the Decor. I'm going to put a heart by that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over and place it over the range. And then I'm going to position it the way that it should be for the space. And then push it back a little bit so that it's covering the range. Click off. And so that's starting to look pretty good. All right, now we're going to do uppers on either side here. And I'm going to add the table, a dining table. And then I'm going to show you the lighting elements, and then we'll do the complete view of this kitchen, because there's so much more that you can be adding, so much more that you will want to explore. And then what we'll do in a future video is address the tile and the backsplash. Now I'm going to show you how to add the upper cabinets, then we're going to add lights, and then we'll fast forward to the finished product so that you could just see what's available for you to do in a space, even if you have a tiny kitchen layout. And the same cabinets that you would add to this area of the kitchen, you can go ahead and add to this area and to the area where the refrigerator is located. And I'll show you that when we get to the finished product here. I'm going to add these two, and then we'll go ahead and add a kitchen table, or a dining table, if you will. Now, these are the wall cabinets that we're going to be using. And what I'm going to do is just bring them in initially. I'll just bring the first one in, and whatever we do to the first one, we'll copy and paste it and add it to the other side of the vent. But I'm going to scroll in here so we can see some of the detail. And it looks like this is the front of the cabinet. That looks like that would be where the door would open. And you can see that edge right there. So what I'm going to do is turn this cabinet to face forward. Make sure it's the circle is green, and that way it knows to turn it. There we go. Or else it'll turn your whole floor plan. All right, click off, and then we're going to move it up and over. Now it might try to change shape on us a little bit, see? But that's okay. Just going to have it touch the vent for now. And if we're okay with that size, what we will do is copy and paste, select, copy, and paste, and then we'll bring the other one over here. Oops, don't go too far away. Come on over. There we go. Now what's interesting about this software, again, there are some limitations. I'm going to move this guy over just a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to work out the spacing differences in here in a little bit. Let me move this range out. Select this, the hood, and then select the little range here, the cooktop. Bring it over. Go back to the hood, and then move him back in there. All right, so now, in order to move those cabinets up to the ceiling, it's a little off here. I'm a perfectionist, so I've got to move it up just a little bit. And what I'll use to do that is my little up arrow on my computer, because the mouse is just not cooperating. All right, and then I'll do this one just a little bit, tweak it. All right, that looks good. All right, so now we're going to go into the 3D resizing view and then select those and then move them up. Now you will be able to see the arrows that'll help you move them up, but then they disappear behind the menu, and then that gets wicked. So what you then have to do is use the blue arrows to move it up to the ceiling. All right, and we just want these cabinets to flank the hood in this example. But again, we're just looking at this from a spatial perspective. If you're going to go and work with a kitchen professional, for example, their software is going to be a lot more sophisticated with a lot more features, and they will most likely be able to show you real time what their product line looks like. This is something, again, that you would take with you when you have that first conversation. And I always like to let them kind of design a kitchen based on a floor plan that I present, which would be an empty flat floor plan with the kitchen measurements. And then I also then like to collaborate with them on things that I've pulled together. Now, designers all have different specialties. We all know how to do all aspects of interior design, but some do go into niches and specialize in kitchen and bath, for example. Others may do, other types of furnishings. Other interior designers can do pretty much everything, especially if they're working with construction or general contractors, for example. So it looks a little off here, but the best way to fine-tune the position of your cabinets is to use this little guy. I'm going to scroll back into the floor plan. And move him over just a little bit so you can really see how those are placed. And see, you see the space right there. So there's enough space on either side. It's the angle of the cabinets. Although I will admit, I can move this one down just a little tad, just so that we can see that gap a little bit better. And once we are able to place the tiles or whatever we choose for that backsplash, it'll really pop and look nice and symmetrical on both sides. Now you can copy and paste the uppers that you placed here. Remember I said that a few minutes ago, and I'll show you how that works. But we're not going to do that for each one, but I just want to give you an example of how that would work. And then you would just move that over here, and then copy and paste. And then you do the same thing over here. I'm going to copy and paste because it's already been selected, and then move that one over here. And the great thing about it is that once you select it, you can adjust it. You can adjust the bottom cabinets, because again, once you make the move to work with a professional who is going to lay out your kitchen the way that you want it, they're going to take all of these different measurements into consideration and find the best fit based on your needs. All right, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to turn this guy around and bring him over this way so you can see how that looks. Now I'm going to bring him down a little bit because I want that to be the same position as the refrigerator. And you can get into having sophisticated elements added. You can do cabinets, and you can also do woodwork that encases the refrigerator and makes it look like a unit that matches the cabinetry. And that way you can't see it. It's actually seamless. But again, this gives you the ability to visualize how all of that will look. Now, the best way to do this is to actually have this guy, because the way that he's angled is the way that when you resize it to move and adjust, it will impact how you're able to finagle and manipulate your cabinet. So see how it has that look where you're almost facing that cabinet. Now I'm going to select the resize button, select that cabinet, that upper cabinet, and use those blue lines to bring them down. So the tricky thing about this particular cabinet, when you attempt to move it, if you're on a wall that's divided, as you can see here, when you move this cabinet, it's going to go to the other side of that wall, which is really weird, right? And we don't want that to happen. But what we'll do is come out of that view, and you see where your cabinet ended up? Just move him over. This is on the other side of the wall. It looks weird. But again, we're talking about the limitations of the software that we're using. Just know when quirky stuff like that happens, there's usually a rhyme or reason. And now you have that double-sided arrow to make that adjustment. So in other words, don't freak out when you see something like that happen. It's cool. Now the same thing goes for your other cabinetry. You'll click on this resize button. You'll get those double-sided arrows. Move it down to make this all the same height. The choice is yours. Just know that you have that flexibility to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and move forward for the sake of the demo, because this is what happens when you're designing kitchens and other parts of the floor plan for a client. There's a lot of back and forth that goes into making that work. And now we're going to focus on this side of the kitchen where we have these walls here. What I'm going to do is add 3 windows. And for that, we're going to go to the building section. Select standard windows. And the one that I chose was this generic window right here. Come on over here. You don't want it there. There we go. And there you go. Just attach to the location. Click off. And since we're placing 3 here, I'm going to go ahead and do the select, copy, and paste. And then we'll do it one more time. Click off, and then we'll do another paste. And then we'll just move these around to make them as symmetrical as possible for what it is that we're trying to do. Now, once you have these placed in your design, use your viewer to just take a look at where they are for your design. Okay? The next thing that we're going to do is add 3 pendant lights above our peninsula, and then we're going to add a dining table, and then we'll fast forward to the finished floor plan for the kitchen. So we're going to go to the ceiling lights, click on that link, and because I know what I've already done the research on, I want to invite you though to feel free to scroll through all of the different designs that are available. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use the Nobel pendant. All right, and so now we're going to take that little pendant and move it over to my peninsula. And again, I'm going to do that. I'm going to copy it, select it, and there we go. Do a control copy, control paste. Open the sink. Then we're going to control copy and move that one. Try to evenly space them out. It's not going to be perfect, but you'll see how it will all come together. And again, you just use your little 3D viewer here to size everything up, move things around. And click off to the side. Now the next element or object or design piece that I'm going to add is a table so that you can have an eat-in kitchen. Whenever you get the last item that you search for, to get back to the catalog, just click on the catalog link there. And go to dining because that's where the tables are located. Feel free to scroll through, move things in and out of the design, make adjustments that you want to adjust. I'm going to go ahead and type in the name of the item that I selected earlier. So now I'm just going to double click and bring him over here. Now, it looks like it's just too big for this particular room, but the beauty of working with software is that you can resize it. And say, for example, you find something that you're just in love with and you have to have it. If you have the loot, if you have the money, you can always have it customized to your size. But again, because we're doing a demo, we have a little flexibility. Actually, we have a lot of flexibility in that we can resize it for what we're looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to fast forward and show you the finished kitchen for part 2. So I'm going to move our 3D viewer back over to the living room, and I'm going to turn him around in a full circle and bring you into the kitchen. So I'm just going to push him through and rotate him around because I want to take you into the kitchen. And show you the complete layout for this kitchen floor plan. Now, of course, you are more than welcome to experiment with your own floor plan. I encourage you to do that and take a lot of the elements and items that you're able to locate in the catalog and bring those into your design. I went ahead and added shades to the window treatments to the windows there, and I also included another light element, and I added dishes and of course chairs and even a cute little cork board for stuff that we like to pin up in our kitchens. So there you have it, a completed redesigned kitchen floor plan that so here's the final product. And of course, there are a lot of other things that can be added to this floor plan. I wanted to keep it simple and show you some of the options that are available. I hope that you were able to learn something interesting about what went into designing the floor plan for or bringing all of the elements of design into the kitchen floor plan. We added lights, we added cabinetry, appliances, and we were also able to add a touch of color to the back wall. We're going to address tile and other um, material finishes for the wall treatment in a future video. So as the entire floor plan for this house starts to develop and I go in and add different decorative elements, you will start to see how the entire floor plan pulls together. So join us for part 3 of how to create a floor plan. And if you haven't had an opportunity to look at the part 1, I invite you to do so because that's where I show you how to add a lot of the different elements that we discuss. Also, we review the summary page of all of the little trinkets that I brought into this design. I'm going to change the view here so that you can scroll through and see where the elements are coming from as we build onto our floor plan. And as I mentioned in the previous video, you will be able to take something that you see here and go to the website, and in some cases, you're actually able to see the item that you've added to your floor plan. So if you're not able to find the piece that you actually want, a lot of times the vendors and suppliers will have other options for you to choose from. Thank you for joining me today. Feel free to stop by the Decor and Design DIY YouTube channel and subscribe and definitely share this video. Once I complete the entire floor plan for this particular home, then I'm going to go through each of the rooms and we're going to change up some of the different decorative elements so that you can see how versatile the tool is in terms of adding different looks and feels to your design plan. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do, and also share this video as well as this channel with your friends and family, especially if you're trying to create a design palette or template to follow for your DIY projects. Each week, I will be adding interesting videos to include sewing projects for window treatments, pillows. We'll be going on field trips to different locations, a lot of your favorite stores in the area, and so much more. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.